that the city would get it, that the Department of Sanitation would say, you know what, maybe, just maybe, I should put a camera on the wall of the Woodlawn Cemetery so that I can catch these illegal dumpers, but they don't. You would think they have sanitation enforcement, they have sanitation police, that this is their job. You would think that they do these things, and they don't. And again, that's why I'm saying it's deflating. But please don't give up. Please make the complaints. I'll give you my card. You can call us every time, so you don't have to come here unless you want to. We encourage everybody to turn out. We will continue to make the complaints for you.
Fadrice, are you with us?
I'm here. I'm with you.
Can you please follow up with Ms. TJ as well, because she did say she reached out to Councilmember Dinowitz's office and she hasn't had a response.
Sure. Was it to one of the constituent advocates directly? Was it by phone, or was it just straight to the Dinowitz
Right.
inbox?
Fadrice, I'm sorry, did you hear what TJ said?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. So she says she did receive a response, but that she was told everything is okay. She's going to speak to you now.
Sure.
The response I received was that they're working on it, and it is not a 24/7 parking, which is wrong. Dinowitz's office is all the way on the west side. We're all the way on the east side. You got to live in it to see it, and I see it every single day. I also informed him of the stability of the overpass. There are potholes on that bridge. I go through it every single day with for doctor appointments. That structure was not built to hold tons of weight. And this has been going on for years now, for several years. If that bridge goes down, you have the Amtrak, you have Bronx River Road. Dinowitz is not on the east side, he's on the west side. We need cooperation, we need some help on this side. And I would like a better response. I would like someone to really come and look at that bridge. It wasn't made for tons of trucks.
Patrice, a walkthrough in that area would actually be super helpful. And I have Robert Links, you want to say something?
Just real quickly, I agree with the condition of the Nerid Bridge. There are trucks in there, constantly. I don't think an enforcement strategy is necessarily going to be effective to have, because you'll ticket one day, they'll be there the next, and then it would have to be constant. One thing that could potentially work is if you installed bike lanes on that Nerid Bridge and you just block everything off and you raise, I
like that idea.
Going up. Now you've taken that property away so that the trucks would no longer be able to access the shoulder of the bridge. And it would improve safety, it would improve bicycles. I think it's a win-win, and I think it would solve the situation.
You're going to ride in the hole? The bridge itself is problematic, but I'm just saying.
Hi, good evening. I'm Alina Dow. I'm the Bronx Borough Director.
I just wanted to say, you're going to ride bicycles in them holes? That whole bridge has to be reconstructed. The idea is good, but the bridge itself needs work, because those are where the rodents are, in those holes. You can't ride a bike there, but so be it. Go ahead.
Hi. So I'm Alina Dow with the Mayor's Office. Nice to see you all. I just wanted to touch base regarding the bridge. I have actually had intensive conversations about the bridge. We have sent, they have done studies to ensure us that the bridge is in fact not structurally being affected by the trucks. So we've had them go out there. So DOT has been working with my office, with the Director of Quality of Life, with our Deputy Commissioner of Operations. There is a bigger plan at hand. We did discuss putting bikes lanes, because obviously the that path that's on Webster Avenue would make sense if it wrapped around and go over Nerid. However, one thing that they did mention is that in part of that practice, what they noticed is that all those trucks would then be parked in the communities in the neighborhood closer to the side of Nareed Avenue. So like I said, I don't want you to think that it hasn't been addressed, and the mayor's aware of this, and he's just working on a bigger plan, because obviously we know there's also problems with truck parking all over our areas, and what that would just do is push them out. So I'm just asking please to be patient, but to please know that the mayor's office is aware of this situation. This is not something that is not being attended to, but we know that one little piece moving it is just going to shift it to other areas, and then it'll be in people's houses as well. But structurally, the bridge is sound, because I've had them actually send over the report to us, to our office, and to even my commissioner, to make sure that the bridge
Can
is
you get
not
us that
going.
report so that we can
I'll
see
find
as
out
well?
I'll find out if they're sharing it,
Yeah.
or if that's something they said.
Yeah, and one thing, that truck parking situation is not all over. Like the Bronx is inundated in other areas, but not like Manhattan, right? So we're like plagued with it.
No, so so in my office, we have
Can you
all
hear
of the
me?
borough directors. This truck situation is everywhere. Obviously, we have it seems really, really bad for us, because we're surrounded by highways, but I will tell you, I mean, at all of our meetings, our staff meetings, all of our borough directors, every community, they are complaining about the parking of trucks, commercial trucks inside residential areas, outside of commercial areas. And I know, it's always usually seems like it's just my neighborhood, but it is happening throughout the city.
A point
I'm not
of
going to get my
information-
report until it's time for elected
A
officials.
point of information, the bridge was rebuilt in 2003.
The bridge itself was rebuilt in 2003?
Yes, they redid all the concrete, they redid the structural supports, so that's why it's in good shape today. They did that bridge, and they did 233rd Street at the same time.
Well, I don't want to say I remember. I actually used to be right on Reed Avenue all the time. So I probably remember when they were doing some construction. I can't remember, but I do. The reason that I know about them saying that the bridge was structurally sound, I think I even talked to George about it, is because we actually had a whole bunch of agencies on this call. We had the department, the 4-7, because we know that these trucks parking there is a big problem. And they've done lots of ticketing. And what actually happened, they even done a tow. And then guess what happened? They came back and other trucks were parked there. So we're actually working on something that's going to be more sustainable, instead of just giving tickets or towing and then other trucks come in the community. So obviously we know that that's something that has to be addressed on a bigger scale, and we hope to have something, at least something down. We had Anthony, the commissioner for the DOT as well. talk
I
about
was just supporting you that the bridge was structurally sound.
Oh, I'm taking their word. Listen, I'm not a bridge person.
Because I know, I signed off on the contract. That's how I know.
I'm going to take your word on that one.
Okay,
Okay, thank you, Alina. All right, anyone else that would like to speak before we move on? Public gallery,
Just
virtually?
if I could, just very quickly.
Fedrice?
It's Patrice. Yes. So if anyone would like to discuss this further, I think that would be amazing. This is the first time I'm hearing about the
We can't
office
really
not being
hear you. Can you
responsive.
speak a little louder, Fedrice?
Is this better?
You're still like
Is this better?
low.
Can you hear me?
Uh,
Okay.
Try now.
Okay, can you hear me a little bit better?
Yes.
Terrific. This is the first time, first of all, I'm sorry I'm not there, very sick a little bit, but I wanted to just say this is the first time that I'm hearing about the issues with the bridge personally. The office hasn't had much talk about it, and I'm sorry that the initial response that you got, TJ, was kind of like a brush off, or we'll look into it, and that there wasn't a resolution, or at least some follow-up. I'm more than happy to provide follow-up if you want to take my information before the meeting wraps, and I can go ahead and work on it with my chief of staff. I know that Alina graciously went over everything already, but I really would like to look into it for anyone who has concerns. I'm more than happy to talk to DOT or any other agency and just kind of jump on things and see where we're at and what we can do, if anything, to kind of rectify the issue. Because I know potholes, I'm taking notes, potholes, vermin, like rodents, and then people being on the shoulder when they're not supposed to be, the truck parking, so I'm just taking note of everything. But please feel free to take my information. We can talk tomorrow morning, and I can start everything for you.
Thank you. TJ, do you need her info? Yes, I do. Okay. TJ, can you put it in the chat? I mean, not TJ. Fedrice, can you put your contact information in the chat? Thank you. Okay, so no one else. We're going to move on. The next part of our agenda, we have a presentation from Belkis She's with Con Edison's Customer Outreach and Education Department.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Belkis Mateo, and I work for Con Edison. I work in Customer Outreach and Education Department. And the reason why I'm here today is because we are partnering with the NYPD, and we're going to different community board meetings to let people know regarding scammers. As you all know, during COVID, there was no disconnection of service. However, the scammers were still contacting customers, asking or demanding, rather, money, or the services will be disconnected. So they're back in that practice, and so we want to alert everyone that we will not call you in any form to request any payment. Any time that there is any type of disconnection notice on your account, that will always be supplied to you regular mail. It will never be someone calling asking you to make a payment with either a gift card or a prepaid card. We don't accept that type of payment. Another way, they're going door to door, asking to go inside to read the meters. Again, if an employee from Con Edison is going, we always carry our ID. Our ID has our name, our employee number, and also has, and you can ask for the person's supervisor, so that way you can confirm that in fact you are speaking to someone from Con Edison. The reason why I'm bringing this up is it happened, I think it was 3 months ago. A customer let someone in acting as Con Edison, and in fact it was not a Con Edison, it was a scammer. Needless to say, she got robbed, and we haven't been able to cut the person. So anytime that you receive any call, they also have the ability to portray it on your caller ID as if it's Con Edison. So when we call, we will not ask you to give us your information, right? If it's us calling, we will have your information. So just be careful, because once you provide information regarding your account, that's it, that's fair game. They'll be able to take all your information. So I'm going to leave this information at the table for anyone to grab it. Another thing that I wanted to mention is we're getting ready to go into the summertime, and as we all know, there is a high demand for electricity during that time. And I forgot, I think it was TJ that mentioned that taxes just went up. And so the prices for electricity, unfortunately, may be going up during the summer. And so we just want to educate customers regarding on how to save energy, right? Unfortunately, when it comes to the price for the supply, we no longer control that, as we don't generate the electricity. We do the delivery of electricity, but we buy the electricity in the open market, and we buy it based on what the prices are. We don't make any profit off of that, but we always want to let customers know that the best way to see reduction on your bill is to be conscious when it comes to using the electricity. And that's all I have.
Thank you so much. Any questions for Belkis? Go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank you for lowering my bill this month, because I suffered a blackout during the rainstorm. I appreciate you lowering the bill. And I want the response when I get a text message on my phone when they expect, so I keyed in that we were out of power. It happened twice that day. And within an hour and a half, Con Ed was out there fixing the transformers, and they were up. I have never, ever seen a response that fast from Con Ed. I believe your new system is working.
Yes, and that's also something that we're working, especially because we have all these demands to be more environmental friendly, being able to use windmill. So we are also working on our grid. We want to ensure, especially since we've seen the inclement weather to be more unpredictable. So we want to ensure that we are having a fast response when it comes to that as well.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, yes, we do. We do have, yes. So we do a line inspection. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but we do have to go and do inspections If we're unable to get the inspection, then you're going to receive a letter letting you know to call and set up an appointment so we can go and do the inspection. Of the lines, correct. There is also the, it's like the natural gas detector that you can have it in a building, and that's basically if there's detect any like gas leak or anything like that, then that will automatically trigger for us and the fire department to go out. Yes. Mhm. No, you can opt out if you don't want it. Yeah. But for the inspection, yes.
I have a question. Con Edison owns a vacant lot on East Gun Hill Road at Laconia. It's a real eyesore, and it's been vacant for a long time. Do you know, you probably don't, but is there a way that you can relay it'd be great if Con Ed did something with that vacant lot? It's between Laconia and Yates near Boston Road on East Gun Hill Road.
Okay. If I'll get the information from you, my partner from the corporate affairs, Jeff, he wasn't able to be here. He has another meeting, but I'll take the information and take it back.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tolene, you have a question?
Yes, good evening. I know that Ms. Mateo was saying that she was going to leave some information at the board. Is it possible for that information to be sent out, or is it something that can be put in a chat some kind of way, or,
To the presenter just now, Belkis?
Yes.
Belkis?
Belkis Mateo?
Can you
I believe
send
she
us,
said her name.
can you send us the information digitally so that we can send it out via email?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And we're also working on an email blast, and thank you for the reminder. So for those of you that are registered with us, you will get an email reminder regarding on what to do during summertime.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Tolene.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you so much. Now we're going to move on to elected officials' representatives report. Cynthia?
Always first, huh?
Always.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me fine? Yes. And online too?
Yes.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. My name is Cynthia. I'm the Director of Constituent Services and Legislative Coordinator for Councilmember Kevin Riley's office. Going over the usual, our offices are at 940 East Gun Hill Road and 135 Einstein Loop, room 44 in Section 5 of Co-op City. Phone number is 718-684-5509, and our email is district12, that's district12@council.nyc.gov. Adding something in atop my remarks, just regarding the tractor trailers, the City Council did pass Local Law 142 of 2023, which requires the Mayor's Office to identify an agency and have a study done to determine where off-street parking can be put for these tractor trailers, because that is currently a issue that is citywide, Northeast Bronx, Southeast Queens, and it's been a pretty universal struggle. So identifying these locations so they can be put somewhere, especially in the Eastern Bronx, and actually along the entire I-95 corridor in the state of New York, there is no truck stop. And that's what's causing a lot of this. So if we can identify capital solutions, that's what's important. And also, if you happen to have a recommendation, we'll take it. Unfortunately, the lot over at Gun Hill and Edson, that is an MTA facility that is being built there, so that one was not eligible. But again, taking recommendations on that. Going back to my regular remarks, though, we did recently do some reintroductions, just with it being a short legislative session. We recently reintroduced Resolution 252-2024, which calls upon the MTA to change the transfer option between one charge within a 2-hour period to allow unlimited transfers within that window, and ideally ease access for those that rely on the system most. So basically, if you're like, oh, I just need to hop off to get something at the grocery store and then be able to hop back on, not having you double charged, or for those that have more complex trips caused by the changes of the Bronx bus redesign, just bridging that gap there to not add that additional financial strain. We do have a petition. I have it in person here and online at www.bit.ly/fixthefare. First letter of each is capitalized. We're asking the community to sign on so that we can push for a hearing on this bill and then be able to pass it and relay it to the MTA. In terms of legislative ideas, We always accept legislative ideas. You can email Jason Fox at jfox@council.nyc.gov or contact our legislative office, 212-788-6873. And now I'm at events. Can I continue? Okay, I didn't know if I was at time. In regards to community events, we have our rain barrel distribution coming up with Speaker Hasty and Senator Bailey. This is on Wednesday, May 8th, starting at 3 p.m. This year, we're going to be having it at Mind Builders. That's over the lower part of Olinville Avenue. Barrels can be reserved by calling our office, 718-684-5509, or by going to bit.ly/Riley Barrel 24. Again, first letter of each is capitalized. Then we're going to be having our Family Fun Day, Saturday, May 11th, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's going to be in Shoelace Park, over by Bronx Boulevard and 222nd Street, like right where it goes down into the park. It's over there. And then I did also want to FYI something in Community Board 11, but that is something that is unique to the entire East Bronx area. The skate park over in Allerton in Bronx Park East is getting a great capital reconstruction project, and they're going to be doing their first community visioning session on Tuesday, May 21st at 6 p.m. And lastly, just to save the date for Olinville Old Timers Day, Saturday, July 13th. Oh, actually, one more thing. We're going to be having the budget hearing soon, where council members will be tasked with having questions for agencies. Just in front of the full city council, these things get live streamed. We also invite community input there. Let us know, hey, like, what would you want to ask an agency? And also, of course, we'll draft our own questions, and if we can't be there, we'll tell another council member too. Now I'm done.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Oh, and I have flyers in the back.
Thanks a lot. Next up, Alina, did you need to say anything?
Hi, good evening, everyone, again. So my name is Alina Dow. I am the Bronx Borough Director for the Mayor's Community Affairs, just in case I said that fast last time and anyone didn't get it. I did want to just share that we are happy. The mayor's excited. They did a lot of negotiating back and forth, but the budget was passed, and some great stuff is going to be given to the mayor and the city. And one of those great things is that there's going to be the 2-year extension on the mayoral control for schools, and the mayor is really appreciative of all of the people that did support that. And then I'm not sure if you guys remember that I've spoken before about asking your local electeds about supporting the mayor's bill, the bill that was submitted so that the mayor can have governance over the illegal smoke shops. As you're aware, the only ones that we had was the sheriff. So now the mayor is actually going to be able to utilize the sheriffs to deputize some of the police to be able to sort of deal with the illegal smoke shops. But that still means, don't assume that we know where all of the legal smoke shops are. So the community still needs to put in the complaints, call 311, and make sure that we're aware of where they are. And those violators will be handled appropriately. I also wanted to share that the mayor with the New York City Health and Hospitals is slated to open 16 mental health clinics within inside New York City public schools to help our kids deal with some of the mental health issues that they're dealing with. He also has launched a pilot program to help families that are being victims of domestic violence to be able to move rapidly. That's often a big challenge where people are going through problems but still are stuck in those same places. So he's launching a pilot program for that. He's also happy that him and the speaker were able to protect over $500 million in key educational programs, and that was temporarily funded through the stimulus dollars. So I know that we don't often get a lot of good news about what the mayor is doing, because that doesn't get to be able to be put in the fine print of the newspapers, but the mayor is really working for the communities, and there's really good stuff happening, and that's one of them. Also, the mayor has doubled down on efforts to reduce gunshots and homicide. Obviously, the 47th precinct is one of the top 6 that are throughout New York City within gun prevention, and the way that he's doing that is he was going to recruit, being able to add 1,200 new officers in recruiting for the new year. And
Alina, do you know what the breakdown for this precinct would be? How many?
I don't, but if you send me an email, I will definitely find out. I know that we had a meeting, and 4-7 is a high priority.
Right, if you can get us that number, that would be great.
Definitely. And so the mayor has also announced New York City's first ever nonprofit advisory council. This is something that has been a testament to the mayor. We have a nonprofit, a whole office that was actually giving money back to nonprofits that hadn't been paid for years. So millions of dollars have been paid now that the mayor had, within the past 2 years, more than previous administrations, they hadn't paid our nonprofits. And our nonprofits are the ones that do so much in our community. And the mayor wants to make sure that, one, they continue to do work in our community, but they also make sure that they can keep their doors open by getting paid. So he has an advisory council that he's putting together. And last but not least, he's also launching a workforce development council to find and unlock all the job opportunities. One, we know about the green, we know about technology, but the mayor really wants to make sure that we buckle down and find out about the different companies and businesses that can have and provide employment opportunities in our areas. So that's just a little bit. I know there's so much. As always, I ask you can contact me. My email is dowe@cityhall.nyc.gov, and my phone number is area code 914-446-8393. If you didn't get it, don't worry. I'm not leaving. I'm going to be here to the end of the meeting. And I always offer you to please contact me. Don't hesitate. And if there's anything that you have that's personal, just, you come to me personally. Right? Thank you, guys.
I have a question. Is it
any
okay?
questions? Yes.
Alina, why is the mayor insisting on cuts to libraries? Right now, the mayor is cutting library service from 7 days a week to 6 days a week, and we've seen restoration of cuts to pre-K, but not the libraries. The libraries is a penny in the budget. It's $24 million that you would be able to restore 7-day-a-week service, and the budget itself is over $100 billion. Why is it that Mayor Adams seems to be insistent on cutting our libraries? This is really crucial.
So I can't speak to the exact fact of what the mayor does, but I can tell you that I actually work for someone that is very precise on numbers. And if I know that we have the libraries that are open 7 days a week, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're actually being utilized 7 days a week. The same way MTA goes and shuts down a bus stop and everyone says that I ride it, but when they do the numbers, it doesn't add up. So I'm presuming that that's something that must have had shown up in the numbers. This is a business, and it's numbers. Numbers dictate what should stay and stay open. Now,
That's
what I will do is you have my
tragic.
email. You have my email, and what I will do is you can email me the information, and I could forward it and see if you can get even more precise information on that. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Okay, thank you, Alina. Okay, we're moving on. Anyone else here in person? Any elected, anyone else here? Okay. Online, Kiara? Kiara, you?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm going to be just really quick. I'm going to be sending flyers into the office, and I know Ursula will distribute them to you guys. We have Bronx Week coming up in May. I want to thank those who came to our State of the Borough last week. It was a great event. I do want to just speak regarding community boards for a minute. We are in the process of interviewing reappointments. So if you apply to be on the board again, you have heard from me or my team for an interview. This is something that we started last year. We discuss attendance, we discuss your role on the board, your experience on the board, and it is required to be reappointed. So please take a look at your emails. If you have not heard from us, please give us a call. And then we will be interviewing all new applicants. So new applicants will be interviewed sometime in the next few weeks, but right now we are focusing on reappointments. I just wanted to let you guys know because this is something new, and a lot of people have just expressed concern and wondering why they have to be interviewed. And I will put any additional information I have in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Kira. Next, Ideli?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Adelia Espaya, and I am the Director of Constituent Services and Immigration Specialist for Congressman Jamal Bowman. I'll be brief. Our office's information, contact number at the Mount Vernon office is 914-371-9220. Also, I dropped in the chat our website information, which is bowman.house.gov. There you're going to be able to subscribe to our newsletter. I just would like to highlight a few upcoming pointers that our office is doing. We will be hosting mobile constituent services throughout the district. I just want to extend my gratitude to Ursula and George for letting us host mobile services starting May 10th. Every single Friday in May, we will be at the Community Board 12 from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Please check us out. We're going to be there providing federal resources, assistance with immigration, IRS, and any other federal related matters. Also, I would like to highlight our competition. Our deadline is April 28th. Please check us out on our website and on social media. We encourage all participants to submit their pieces by April 28th. And that is all I have for you this evening. My contact information is in the chat. If you need any assistance, I'll be in the meeting until the end. And also, we will be in person at the Community Board 12 starting May 10th. Once again, thank you so much for giving us the space, and have a great evening all.
Great, thank you so much. Next up, we have Fedrice. Did you need to say anything else? I don't think you got the opportunity to actually do your announcements.
No, I didn't. I did not. But I'm going to keep it super brief because I've been in the chat putting everything in. So I will speak clearly, kind of slowly, but quickly. So we had West Bronx Housing in. They're going to be, whenever they're in the office, they're there on Tuesday. So we had them there April 16th, 10 to 4. They're going to be back May 21st. So if you'd like to speak to them about housing, talk about applications, pick their brain. The woman's name is Grace. She's very lovely. Please feel free to come to the office. We're always happy to have all constituents from all across the district come. Next, it's going to be NYLAG. So NYLAG, or New York Law Assistance Group, was able to come with their mobile van, answer some questions. We had some people walk up. They were doing appointments for people as far as like immigration services, but you're always free. Anybody that's in the office, please come in and talk to them. They're always happy to see all constituents and answer questions if they're able to. They were there April 18th, 10 to 3. Next, they'll be in the office May 29th, same time. For the people that are looking to speak to an immigration attorney, or maybe someone in your family, someone you know as a friend, MMCC, every first and third Monday every month, they have like appointments for you to come and speak to an immigration attorney directly. Very helpful. If you'd like, you can give them a call, 718-882-4000. That number is also in the chat. Doesn't have to just be for you, it could be for someone else. And let's see, we also had DOB in the office. Well, we had them virtually speaking to people in the office in our conference room yesterday from 11 to 3. If that's something that you are interested in as constituents, please let the office know. We take all the feedback and we compile it to see what works and what doesn't, and that helps us to inform how we're hosting our events and who we're hosting at our events. And also use those metrics when you do the feedback to say, hey, we had a big turnout, we need more people to come and we need them to come more frequently. Let's see, so we had Stephanie today at the Wakefield Library. I hope some of y'all were able to come and say hi from 10 to 5. I'm going to keep you posted on the next time that we're going to come back to Wakefield, but it's going to be most likely sometime in the next month, probably towards the end again. We're having the shredding event May 18th and 19th. Please feel free to call the office. We are still working on getting those flyers out, so I can get you the location a little closer to that time, but I can definitely get you more information so you can plan around it. I know people like to come and bring stuff that they've had in their house that you want to get rid of for your spring cleaning. Please feel free to come in and bring all your bags of paper. It's a fun event. And then if you need resources for CUNY Citizenship Now, please give us a call or email. I have it in the chat as well. And last but not least, I think the last thing I have for y'all is just that we were able to work with the Horticultural Society to beautify Wakefield Triangle. So they brought us some planters. We were able to put up planters, which I think is a nice send-off for Earth Day. or for the month. Just kind of make sure that the area is looking nice and beautiful and springy for the season, and that is it. If you have any questions or you want to say hi or not hi, and you have an issue that you need me to work on, you know that you can call me. I'm going to put my number. My number actually is in the chat. My cell is in the chat, the office number, everything. So everything but a carrier pigeon and a smoke signal. Feel free to get in contact with me if you need anything at all. And then, of course, feel free to stop by the office, 277 West 231 Street, between 231 and Corlier. And that's it for my update.
Thank you, Fedrice. I do have a question. In the chat you put West Bronx Housing was in the office. What is West Bronx Housing?
So that is a good question. West Bronx Housing is an organization that we fund and that we work with that talks to people about affordable housing, helps with applications. So if you're not sure about something, or if you're like, hey, I need to find an apartment, but I don't know if I qualify for this or for that, they go ahead and work with you on the application and go over different things with you in documentation. The woman Grace is very, very helpful. So a lot of times if people are looking for housing or looking for information like, hey, I need an apartment, I don't know if I qualify for this, I don't know what other programs are available, can I get city FEPs, can I not get city FEPs? That's when we have them in there to just have that kind of clarification for you, because getting housing in New York, especially now,
Fedrice,
is
you're just talking
complicated.
so fast. You're talking so fast, it's kind of hard to conceptualize or even grasp what you're saying. So forgive us for not catching
Sorry, can I
up.
slow down?
But quick question.
It's
So the
okay,
West
please slow
Bronx,
down.
we kind of understood what you said. They help with housing matters, and they serve our district, not just Riverdale. They serve our district too, correct?
No, you're a constituent. So if you're a constituent, there's no reason that you shouldn't be getting help from our office. So
I'm sorry, I missed that.
And that's included.
Did anybody
So if
catch?
you're a constituent, can you hear me?
If you live in her district,
Okay,
live in the 11th council district.
right. So that's what I thought. So this is for is it for District 12? I just want to hear yes or no. I'm sorry.
It is.
It is.
District 12 covers Woodlawn, Wakefield. That's
Great.
why they're here.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure
Oh,
I wasn't
oh.
familiar.
It's okay, as long as you're within our district. So I know that sometimes there's an overlap. I don't see why they would say no, and if they did, they would go ahead and refer you to someone that's closer, because it's quite a trek.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, Cynthia, you have a question? A response? Go ahead.
So just to give some context in terms of West Bronx housing, so they're located in the West Bronx, but they do have an existing contract that covers Community Board 12, and then both council members Dinowitz and Riley both fund West Bronx housing.
Beautiful.
So if you were missing one part, you're caught in the other.
Thank you. That's what was unclear. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
And also, in addition to that, there is NIDC, who I also hear is having a housing event here later this month.
I don't know.
I'll get you the details on that.
Thank you, Cynthia.
You're welcome.
Okay, next up we have Fatmata.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Fatmata Kamara. I am a community engagement coordinator from the Bronx District Attorney's Office. I just wanted to share two events that we have very quickly. One of them is going to be this Saturday, which is going to be our Child Safety Fair. It's going to be from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. At 1919 Prospect Avenue. So it's just going to be, April is Child Awareness Prevention Month, so it's just going to be a day that's interactive for the kids to learn about safety, but also to have fun. So we're going to have like a bouncy castle, snow cone machine, popcorn machine. We're giving away bikes and Yankee tickets and Bronx Zoo tickets. So it's just going to be a very fun, interactive day for the kids to kind of challenge themselves to learn. And our second event is going to be the following Saturday, which is going to be prom distribution, May 4th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. We're going to be giving away dresses and suits, as well as jewelry, shoes, and we're partnering with Bronx Fashion Week. So please come out to both events, or if you know anyone who may be interested in either one of them, please share the information. I'm also going to put it in the chat, but let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Yes, go ahead, Carl.
Yes. What's her name? I just have to say something, and I hope you're still listening, is that I was very impressed with Darcel at the at the budget meetings at City Hall for her office in the Bronx. She told them, instead of giving her additional money for her office, the money that would come to her office should go to community groups that need it in the Bronx. And I thought that was very honorable for her to do. Not many people would ever think of doing that.
Thank you. You'll let her know, Fatmata, what was said here. Thank you for that. Okay, next up, Ivan.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ivan Neds. I'm here representing State Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz's office.
If you could speak up a little louder.
Hello, everyone. This is Ivan from Assemblyman Jeffrey Dinowitz's office. I'm here representing Assemblyman Dinowitz on an interim basis after my former coworker Danella, who was covering the meetings, moved on to a new position. But this sort of feels like a reunion because I used to cover Community Board 12 for 10 years, so it's good to see some friendly faces. I just want to touch a little bit on what was mentioned before by, I'm sorry, I forget which person mentioned. Well, essentially we're having the shredding event in Woodlawn, in front of the Woodlawn Library. That will be on, give me 1 second, Saturday, May 18th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's in collaboration with Jamal Bailey's office, Eric Dinowitz's office, and Richie Torres's office. I'll make sure that George has a copy of the flyer. It's a pretty good looking flyer because I actually made it. But aside from that, I just wanted to remind everybody also about the Henry Hudson Bridge toll rebate. So if anybody has a funded Easy Pass account, they can essentially take the bridge for free. If you have any issue, or as long as you have a registered car within the Bronx, if you have any issues, you can reach out to Easy Pass. The customer service has been excellent. If you don't want to wait on the phone for an hour, they actually have a callback feature. But just wanted to remind everybody that it's free for all Bronx residents. It's a rebate program. You'll get charged going over and then immediately refunded the money. I will leave the information in the chat, but for anybody in the 81st Assembly District who is not currently on our newsletter, you can join our newsletter list by going to dinowitz.us/newsletter for any updates in the 81st Assembly District and all upcoming events. Thank you very much, and it's good to see you guys again.
Thank you. Next up, we have Rashiel. Rashiel, am I saying your name right? Rashiel from Representative Torres's office. Are you with us? Okay, so we're going to move on. Okay, so that closes out that section. Next up, just a quick update on at our last board meeting, we discussed that we were in agreement that we wanted to reach out to our council members, Councilmember Riley and Councilmember Dinowitz, and request discretionary funding to retain our own urban planner / city planner. So I'm happy to report that I met with Councilmember Riley, and he is in agreement, and he is willing to give us discretionary funding. He does have to crunch his numbers to see how much. He does want to speak to Councilmember Dinowitz as well. I've put in a request for a meeting with Councilmember Dinowitz, so I'm waiting for that. So as soon as, we get an agreement from both or what each is willing to give, then we're going to invite them to the board, and then, we'll have a full-blown discussion. In the meantime, we should start thinking of steps we want to take, the process, and so Luke is going to help me put a little bit of a presentation together quickly. Right now, really all we are waiting for is to see how much we get, and then after that, there's a few steps that we have in mind. But then, George, we were thinking maybe could we have like a public hearing where the board and the community can kind of like help with the process of the steps we want to take and how we want to move with this? Yeah? Okay. Do you want to give like a quick brief of the bullet points that we think is important for you all to keep in mind?
Yeah, so once we kind of secure the funding, and some of this will have to go at the same time, because in order to kind of make this request formally, we kind of have to have a project proposal, I would imagine, so that the council members know what they're funding. And so we're looking for an urban planner from a nonprofit or from an educational program or somebody maybe who just graduated from an educational program with experience. And then the other thing, which Kartika actually kind of lent her experience towards, is having an idea generation station to facilitate a kind of a feedback process where people can tell us how they want the neighborhood to look, or what things that we think are opportunities. So Kartika, you had mentioned kind of using some kind of event to activate this space, some kind of idea station. So, and Beatrice actually pointed out that we're going to have every Saturday a farmer's market with kids programming and nonprofits tabling. So it'll be the perfect space to kind of have a table where the community board says, hey, how do you want to see your neighborhood? Are there any improvements that we can make? So we're going to work with Kartika and everybody on the board to facilitate a really kind of collaborative process that we're all going to be really proud of.
Great. Kartika, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, and I, to the point of like what an idea generation station is, it's basically like a collaborative effort of us kind of investing in like what's already working in our community, right? And like it's not just one person or two people leading what that looks like, or you know, it's like we're all hearing out what everybody is saying, what our neighborhood is saying. So it's important that all of us like pitch in, right? Whether it's our time, whether it is like the people that we know, and you know, stuff like that.
Great. Mr. Hall?
Yeah, I just wanted to re-embark what's being said here, and everyone needs to understand that this individual who's going to be hired cannot and does not take his own personal obligation and develop a direction. The input of everyone, all of the substances that you gather is very important, and I certainly hope that this individual takes that into account, because that is going to be unprecedented but necessary.
Absolutely, and part of the process is that we would develop that task description of what it is that we would want them to focus on.
Yeah, and that's why it's important that feedback is very important, and it's going to be useful, because everything we're going to do is going to be based on that feedback, and then we're going to let the planner do what he does best.
Right. And so the next step is we hear from our council members how much they're going to be able to allocate. Then after that, we schedule a public hearing to get everybody's input, and we have from June 1st through November 23rd to table at the farmers market. And so, you know, we're putting the plan together, but we do need all of your input, right? This is not just like was said one or two folks putting it together. It's going to be a collaborative effort. Okay, so that was it for me. The farmers market was amazing. Luke and I were there. We were like connecting with folks. One young lady came over, 27-year-old, and we were kind of just speaking about the things that, you know, she can come and share at the community board. One of the things she shared is that there aren't any playgrounds for her son, and so that's something that she would really like to see more of. And so those are the things we want to hear as we're putting these things together, right? For example, how many are located here as opposed to Upper East Side, right? Just for us to have an idea. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions before we move on? Okay, George?
Good evening. For the sake of brevity and the desire to want to get home and watch the rest of the Knick game, I'm not going to read my report. The only thing that I would encourage, this was the last 2 weeks have been rather important. I will say thank you to the community board for the chairs for not having committee meetings, because it allowed me to attend some other very important meetings, with the exception of the joint meeting of the Sanitation and Parks Committee. We had that the same night as the Precinct Council meeting, which was pretty informative. And I will note, and this is where the point that I'm trying to make, all of us, you guys are all community board members. You're sworn officers or public officials of the city. You're volunteers. I view your role or your responsibility here as being ambassadors. You take the information that you get here, or you take the information that you get from your friends, your families, your loved ones, and you bring it here, and we all have conversations about the issues that affect us as a community. And vice versa. You go out and you have conversations with your loved ones, which is one of the main reasons why we broadcast on multiple platforms and we're on BronxNet, because I want everybody to see what we're doing and how we're doing what we're doing. I don't want anybody to ever say that we're doing things in the shadows or with a lack of transparency. Everything that we've always done has been televised since the minute that I've gotten here, and we've expanded to be on multiple platforms. And that's the reason why I do this. But I will say there was an interesting meeting. I forget what day it was. It was Wednesday or Tuesday of this week. Councilman Riley had a community conversation with city planning. It was very well attended. There was only one board member there. Antonia was there. So I'm grateful that she was there. It was a missed opportunity for us. Now, I go to these meetings because I just want to hear from my neighbors about what's going on. I rarely ever try to speak. I only speak if I'm asked to speak at the meeting. It's just an opportunity for me to listen. But this was an interesting conversation because it was with the borough director of city planning, and he was having a conversation very much about the stuff that you were just talking about right now. And it seems to me, the councilman, and I was telling Ursula earlier that I'm going to invite the councilman to have a conversation with us because he already has a plan with city planning for White Plains Road. So I was curious, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to follow up. I didn't follow up with him then, but he mentioned it at the meeting. It would have been more insightful if we had other board members who were there to listen and sort of have those conversations amongst yourselves, amongst your families, to see what it is that you want and if you agree with what they're envisioning. Because, for example, and again, I'm just stating what this board has done. We voted several years ago for Baychester Square. Baychester Square was brought up. That's the old golf course. We voted as a community board almost unanimously for a mall, an outdoor vendor, cross-county type of situation. We did have housing, but it wasn't major. It was 200 units of senior housing. Councilman, I shouldn't even say the councilman. The MTA is now looking at that site for an electric bus depot as a last mile destination to finish up building their electric buses, which is a laudable goal. We do need to get our gas guzzling buses off the road and electrify them. That's fine. But the councilman lamented the fact that it is the last largest piece of property in the district. And he felt that it should be housing. And I can just tell you, some of you were here when we had those conversations about Baychester Square. We were getting pushback because that is right at the very tippy tip of our district from Community Board 11, which is right where Home Depot is, and across the highway where I live in Co-op City, Community Board 10. Nobody wanted the shopping mall because they claimed, amongst many things, that it was going to be an impediment to the community. Putting housing there doesn't make it better. So this is the type, and this is where, again, you have to know what it is that you're asking for. And that's why you have to be engaged civically. You should go to as many meetings as you possibly can. You should listen to what other people say. Those other meetings are not my meetings. This is the only opportunity that I get to speak to all of you directly. This is it. I don't try to impose my will in any of these other conversations, but I will say that when we had these conversations about Gotham Square, that's what it was called back then, Baychester Square, nobody wanted housing. We wanted more retail. The Bronx is under-retailed. It still is. And the fact that other people are now suggesting, oh, no, no, it should be housing, I know that I wouldn't want to see that outside of where I live in Co-op City. But again, this is what you're going to have conversations about. This is what your urban planner is going to have conversations about. I worked in the Bloomberg administration. During the Bloomberg administration, there was a Plan NYC to address the very issues that you just spoke about. There was a plan to have parks within, what was it, 20 minutes, or not 20 minutes, 10 minutes of walking distance. And many districts fit that goal. So the idea that, somebody said, oh, there's not a playground for, maybe not on your block, but it was within walking distance. We have a park that stretches the length of our district at Shoelace. So there are parks in our district. But again, you have to be very careful because this is a community of homeowners, not building owners. There are not that many multiple dwelling buildings in our district. And that's what is being proposed. That's what urban planners do. That's what White Plains Road to Paulding and Bronx and White Plains Road to Bronx Boulevard will look dramatically different maybe in the next 30 years because it's already been rezoned for higher density housing. So all of the issues that you raise now about increased parking and the lack of parking and all that other stuff, those are things that we're going to have to contend with. And yes, we're going to have to contend with maybe we're going to need more spaces for all the extra population that might be coming because we're building bigger and bigger. So please attend as many meetings. I get it. I know there's a lot of stuff. We're complicit in it. We send everything that the elected officials send to us, we send out to everybody. I am sorry for that, but it is important for you guys to attend these meetings. There was a precinct council meeting. There was a meeting that was on the shelter, 3240 Grace Avenue, which is no longer happening. There was like 6 people in that meeting. And, you had the Speaker of the State Assembly, you had the City Councilman there, and there were like 6 people from the community in that meeting.
Was that sent out?
No, that wasn't my meeting. I was just invited to it. Yeah, I'm sorry? Yeah. Oh, there was the State of the Borough. Some board members went. I think Kira mentioned it. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I get it. We're all busy. We all have lives. But I think that that's what contributes, and that's the diversity that we need when we're having the conversations here at this community board. So I will wrap it up with that. I always say today marks my 3,189th day as your district manager, or 8 years, 8 months, and 23rd day of my tenure here. I am grateful for each and every day at the board. Thank you for your patience, and good night.
Hi, I have 2 questions. But I don't know if you have the answer for it, but were there any impact assessments? Like when you talked in this conversation group, were there any conversations around how to interpret the data of the impact assessments of this whatever is being proposed? And then 2, do you know if these conversations are being recorded somewhere where we can also just read
Impact statement on the studies that are supposed to, go ahead, Cynthia, if you want to answer directly.
So in terms of the MTA facility, that's actually something that we put as a piece of legislation to request the MTA to do an environmental impact statement. On the topic of petitions, we also have a petition for that. That one is Don't Gridlock Gun Hill. First letter of each is capitalized, and again, it's the bit.ly.don't gridlock Gun Hill. Again, just to show the gravity of it. And in terms of our meetings, those are live streamed on Facebook. And it should stay online. The audio for this one was better. Sometimes, depending on the location, it messes up a little. If you want to get the information, just ask us.
But
you're welcome.
So when there was an environmental study done when it was going through the ULURP for the mall. That was all done. So there is one. They're now requesting a new impact study because the plans have changed because they want to do the electric bus depot.
Yeah, and that one doesn't go through ULURP because it's as of right.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't have to go through
Which is why we're requesting it through the legislation, and that's why we want your support.
So,
George, I would ask you to check in. The MTA turned that property over to EDC. Okay, and, you know, but then what I understand from my people at MTA is that EDC has returned it to MTA for an electric bus repair shop, not a depot. It's going to be a repair shop for the electric buses.
no, so what the MTA announced, which we shared with the community board some months ago, was that it was going to be they were going to build it elsewhere and they were going to assemble it.
In that place, which will also be a repair shop.
Okay.
All right?
But it's still
Because
gonna be.
the batteries are too heavy.
No.
You know, an electric bus costs $1.5 million, where a standard articulated bus only costs $500,000, so.
Okay. But yes, Cynthia's right. The EDC was involved because the state asked them to get involved to help solicit or to get solicitations from people. There were several bids that were put out. The one winning bid was a combination of two different bids where they did the McQuestion teamed up with Gotham Grid and they created this mall idea. But Cartiga, more to your point, so the meeting that we had in the community conversation, the borough director for city planning was there. I won't say that there are impact studies for everything, but there are neighborhood impact zones that they look at, and that's what they're looking at theoretically for White Plains Road. They're looking how to do that. But again, that's something, I was telling Cynthia, I was teasing Cynthia earlier in the office because I was like, oh, you know, it's the first time that I hear of it. And she's like, no, Kevin was here. I'm sorry, the councilman was here, and he said this to us in October or whenever he was here last. And I was like, oh man, I must have forgotten about it then. But, you know, that's something that's already in the process of happening. So, you know, there's going to be an evaluation. And, you know, that's what I was talking to the councilman's office after that meeting, because I was like, well, if we're going to hire a city planner, even though city planning's already looking at the district, because at Kevin's direction, you know, is that a wise investment?
Well, there's a lot of areas besides White Plains Road in the district. You know, I live.
Let me just say something, that the council members said to me that there are so many neighborhoods within this district that it would be a wise thing. And that's why we agreed to this funding. There's a lot of grounds. Go ahead.
Deacon, go ahead, Deacon.
Okay, go ahead. Excuse me. I'd like to find out, over the years I've been on the board, when the developers come to the Bronx to put up these buildings, and the board give them the red light, they eliminate or bypass the board and get one of these crooked politicians. And before you know it, these buildings are going up unknowing to the board. What can we do to eliminate that?
So we've had a lot of meetings with HPD. Last year, they came with us and talked about fair housing. And there's definitely a perception that like buildings coming up is bad, but that's not always true because there's a real housing crunch. If there are any renters in the room, I bet there's a lot of people struggling. The vacancy rate for New York City is 1.4%. So if you're in a place, the landlord has a lot of ability to kick you out, raise the rent, and that's something that housing supply and affordable housing supply will help with. But so there's something we have to change the way we think about housing being built because housing is good. We need to the one way to fix our homeless crisis, our affordable housing crisis, is to build more housing. But how we do it is really important, and where we put it has to make sense. You know, there's a lot of antiquated zoning laws in our neighborhood. Look at Bronxwood. Right now, there's a lot of great corner delis and restaurants, but if you look at the zoning, none of that's allowed. But if there's any new development on Bronxwood, it would remove all of those really nice restaurants. So there's aspects to our zoning code where, there's character of the neighborhood that exists, physically, but not on the books. So there are ways in which we can figure out what do people like about the neighborhood that we want to make permanent or something like that, including being inclusive to new people, because there are a lot of homeowners, but there's also a lot of dwellings in the district.
Quick question. You want to go first?
I just wanted to say, I go back when they had that evaluation and we got more senior housing over near Co-op City, that land. Times have changed. People need to have a roof over their head. Families are doubling up in households. That's why some of these issues that are being raised by the people in the audience, it signifies the fact there's not enough housing. How do we get enough housing? This is the community board. At this time, if we're going to pay a planner, all right, we need to live, but we need to learn. And you got to learn on the job, because whatever decisions are made, and George said we have to be careful, but at the same time, we have to be valuable. We have to help this need, all right? It's a big difference than what it was before. And there are a lot of homeowners, and I noticed that the backyards, they built houses in the backyards of those homeowners in the same neighborhoods you're referring to. But the need for housing is prevalent. And you can go, we don't even know how many shelters we got. We don't even know how many types of shelters that even exist. But all of this tells us we need help with regards to housing. People want to expand. So we got to be mindful of that fact. But yet and still go forward. All right? That's it. Thank you.
George, I not in details, but I heard something about what was transpiring regarding the development that they wanted to do down on Gun Hill across from the Home Depot. Your idea was actually what was being suggested was probably good, but I'm trying to understand what caused it not to go forward. What prevented it? And don't have to go into detail. Just you can't do it. All right, stop. Okay, let's not get into it. Okay, one quick question then.
So again, for the board members that were here, it was killed by the former council member.
Okay, got you. All right. Now, I mean, you mentioned senior housing. Was it only senior housing that was proposed, or was there only senior housing?
It was about 200 units. It's about 200 units of senior housing, a 6-story building.
And no one suggested a mixed-use building with seniors and
No. Again, this was the use of that space predates me joining the community board in 2015. But the agreement was that if we were going to rezone the land, that you had to put a senior house. That was the community board's ask, was for senior housing, because they didn't want to include anything other than the mall. So we requested senior housing. We put it through near unanimous. The vote was 29-2. We wrote a letter. It went to the city council, and because the council member, again, this was this council. Yeah, but it was pre this. I mean, even the speakers were different. Everybody was different. The administration was different. They let it die. And so, to your point before, MTA never relinquished control of it. They just asked EDC for solicitation. Yeah, yeah, that was it.
Okay, so the property that's behind MTA, do you really want a senior building there? It's toxic, the buses is loud, so I'm not sure if I would want to live there as a senior citizen.
We don't know what's going to happen. Right now,
Oh, it's in limbo.
right now, it's supposed to be an electric bus repair shop.
Which has no pollution.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but like I said, if you were at the community conversation, the councilman, he was for it and he was against it because he lamented the fact that there was an opportunity because it is the largest piece of property left. And since it's an as of right, the MTA doesn't have to come back to us to ask for rezoning. They can do whatever they want. Yeah, basically.
Got it.
They got the original zoning when they built the Gun Hill Depot, because all that land was supposed to be for the bus garage, which is there and has been there for years, plus a maintenance shop, which they chose not to build there and to build on Sarika Avenue. So that's why the land was vacant and they let a golf course go in. And the best thing that ever happened with that is we got rid of the strip joint that was off.
Oh, yeah.
We got rid of the strip joint that was on the property.
Okay, thank you all, and like I said, we're going to continue the conversation. Now we're moving on to financial report.
Hi, good evening. The briefest that you've ever heard in your entire existence, $2,660. Have a good night.
Great, thank you. All right, last item on the report, new business. So, as I delineated here, our executive officer's election is something that happens yearly for us. And so the first part, what we need to do this month is to appoint a nominating committee. In May, it's the, who's running, our ballot, and in June, we vote.
Correct.
Okay? Any questions about that? Okay, so we're gonna move to nominating. No, I'm sorry, yes, so we're not approving minutes today. Michelle is not here, and she wasn't able to submit those as of yet. Apologies. So we're tabling that until next month. All right, so now we're going to the nominating committee. We need about 3 to 5 members, and typically this committee is the one, an odd number. Okay, that's good to know. This committee is pretty much the ones that will be facilitating and gathering information and names for the nominees, sending out the ballot, and all of that good stuff. So, would anyone like to volunteer?
No, you can't.
No.
Had a recommendation from somebody.
Okay.
All right, so I want to recommend Mr. Link.
Yes.
Well, hold on. You have to ask if they want to run.
Okay. Well, yeah, well, that's it, we're going to ask him.
No, I mean if they
Do
want to
you wanna
run for executive office.
Do you want to be on the nominating committee?
Nominating committee.
Sure, I'll serve on the nominating.
Hold on. So before so the way we do it is you have to accept to be on, like as Carl was saying. But the thing is, if you plan on running for executive office, you cannot be on the nominating committee. So that's something you have to factor.
You're not running? All right, so our first, Robert Links.
Nominate Dr. Sherry Samuels.
Dr. Sherry Samuels, do you accept the nomination? Beautiful. Who else would like to nominate? Who else would like to nominate? We have a lot of new board members.
I want to nominate Wayne. No.
Wayne, could you kindly consider? Wayne, would you kindly consider the nomination? Not now. Okay, that's fair. Yes. Benga, do you accept? Wow. Okay.
He's recommending my friend over here.
Alfredo.
Mr. Safety.
All right. Yes.
Yeah, you.
Guys, no pressure. Guys, order. No pressure. All right, Alfredo.
Alfredo. Oh, he's ready. You've been nominated by me. Do you want to serve? That's fine.
Oh, wait. All right, clarification. What we're nominating now is not to run, is to run the committee of the election. Wayne is our third. Yes, Benga? Okay, Ms.
I need one more.
Ms. Goff.
Johnny wants to recommend.
Who? Mr. Clinton Mike, do you accept the nomination?
No.
No. Oh, he can't because he's an executive officer.
I still think Alfredo should be.
You got Denise, you got...
Alfredo? Alfredo, do you accept the nomination is back on the table? Okay, so we have our committee.
Yeah.
We have,
Can
we're
I-
going to confirm, we have Robert.
Can I make a nomination? I nominate.
It's already over.
It
Oh,
is?
it can't be, it's
got
only
five
five
people.
members. Could we have 7 then?
No.
No?
Get out of here.
Okay. Okay.
Get out of here.
Oh, Ms. Sherry Samuels is saying she's the chair of the Health Committee? That doesn't matter? Because she's not running.
Has to be the executive.
Do you want to, Sherry? I mean,
No, you have no issue.
yes. And now let's clarify, do they need to meet in person to do this? Because that would matter.
What happens now is after the meeting's over, the 5 people that were nominated get together and they choose a chairman.
Of the
Of the
committee.
committee, right. So the chairman sets up the meeting for the committee to discuss nominations for the officers. And then next month, they will present the nominations.
But do they have to meet in person? It
Well,
would matter.
They could do Zoom.
They can do
They
Zoom?
could do Zoom if they
Okay.
need, you know.
Okay. Okay, so you can meet virtually. Everybody's
All right, so,
clear?
yeah. So
Okay.
after the meeting, all 5 get together and they choose a chairman.
Great. So the 5 members of this nominating committee, Robert Links, Sherry Samuel, Wayne, Benga, and Alfredo. Well, we're closing at 8:53 p.m.
Okay. Thank you.
You're doing it? Or